I'm back today bringing you a video about how to prepare for a tournament as a co-angler. Tomorrow I'm fishing a tournament on Mosquito Lake. It's in Ohio where I'm from, and I'm going to be a co-angler in it. So I wanted to show you guys how I'm going to prepare for this and just the little different things I do. Hopefully I can teach you something. The first thing you want to do is definitely pre-fish. You want to know what the fish are doing. You want them to tell them. You want the fish to tell you like what they want. And so I pre-fished on Thursday with my uncle, and I found out that they really want this in the low light hours. They really want this buzz frog. They also wanted a topwater frog. This is called a spitting wah. It makes a lot of noise and definitely throws a lot of water. Something you always want for a tournament is a Senko, and I'm throwing a Missile Baits D-bomb pegged with a 1/2 ounce weight. What I had on this pole was a Livingston crankbait square bill, and I'm going to be taking it off and putting spinnerbait on. The lake I'm fishing it's a pretty clear lake. There's a lot of weeds, and I think if there's some wind and I have a weed line, I'm going to throw the spinnerbait down it and hopefully catch a nice chunk. You always want to do before tying your lure onto your line is check your line for nicks, because when you're in a tournament you don't want to lose a big fish due to a nick in your line. So see, I found one. You probably can't see it, but I found one right here, so I'm just going to trim that off. And then the spinnerbait I'm using is a KVD spinnerbait. I got it, and also comes with a nice little trailer hook. With a short bite you can still get them with that trailer. I'm tying the spinnerbait on with a polymer knot. This is my setup for the pegged finesse worm. It can also be called a trick worm. It's a 7-inch just zoom trick worm, and I'm going to be using the watermelon chartreuse, and I also am going to be using the green pumpkin magic. They got a little bit of gold flake in there too. It's pretty nice. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this bobber stop on first, then the weight, then tie the hook on, and I'm going to dip this in the Spike It garlic scent just to give it a little extra oomph on the bait. So we're just going to take this worm, and it's already chartreuse, but we're just going to dip the tip in the chartreuse again. That way it gives that tip some garlic scent. So what I'm doing here, I just put the bobber stop on the line, pull it through, and then I'm going to move it all the way up. That way I can just put my weight right on and start tying my hook on. I'm using a VMC EWG 4-aught. You're just going to Texas rig this trick worm. You want the hook to come through the flat side on the worm. Looks pretty good. Smells pretty gnarly. Hopefully the fish like it. Just pull it tight, make sure it's not going to break. As for a jig trailer, I'm going to be throwing one of these Rage Tails Menace Grubs. They got the little thing on the end, and I just like to hook that right on the end of the jig. This actually came out pretty good. It's a little darker up here, and you can definitely tell down here it's just a little bit lighter, and it stinks, so that's good. So this old jig trailer I got here, I mean, you could tell I beat the piss out of it. Instead of throwing them away or throwing them in the water like most people do, I just have a little bag, and I just like to recycle them. And there's actually a place where you can send them, get them melted down, and either made into new ones or just recycled. I have this football head jig here by Strike King. I'm just going to feed it onto the hook, make sure it's lined up and the paddles are flat against it, and just push it right on like that, and that's my jig. One thing I forgot to tell you guys is I forgot to do it too. On the spinnerbait, I'm going to put this lure enhancer. It smells just like a shad, really. It's called fish sticks, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it right on the back of these blades, so as it's spinning through the water, it's leaving like a scent trail. Maybe that time or the next time, if that fish smells it, they'll hit it because they think it's actually a shad instead of just some old lure. I'm just going to stick it right on the back of the spinnerbait. So when that's spinning through the water, it's leaving a big old scent trail. It smells like a shad. So what I just did here, because it's a clear water lake, is I just tied an Albright knot. What I'm going to do is, you get the strength of the braid, and you get the invisibility, and you get it to sink because it's fluorocarbon. And I'm going to tie this right to my swim bait hook, and I'm going to put the swim bait right on it. I got my poles. I got the peg finesse worm. I got the weightless Senko, or the really light-weighted wacky Senko. Got the spinnerbait, topwater frog, the buzzbait frog, missile bait's D-bomb. It's called a beaver. I got the swim bait. Now I do have another pole I could tie something on to, but I'm not going to because as a co-angler I'm limited, and this is my selection for tomorrow. Now I'm going to show you how I transport these babies. As you can see, I got these rod gloves on. These are really nice. They prevent you from getting hooks into things, like in my car, for example, when I have to drive to the lake. They prevent line tangles, all the lines getting tangled together. And then I bought some of these rod glove VRX fishing wraps. This basically, you just put all your rods together and you wrap them up with these, and this keeps them nice and condensed. So when I want to put it in my car, it's not that hard. What I did right there is I just wrapped the top of them, and now I'm going to put that wrap on the bottom of them and just keep them all together. Take this wrap. I'm just going to wrap the bottom of these poles. Just pick them up very carefully and you move them just like that. Is always have your life preserver. You have to use it every time the boat is running. Your white weigh-in bag, what I like to keep in there is a rain jacket, and I keep my culling system and some paddle tail baits. I don't know why those are in there, but I always put my cull system in the bottom, put my jacket back in, put my life preserver back in. Now all I'm gonna do, just gonna take all my poles and set them in the car. Try not to break any of them. They will all fit. So now you've seen how I prepare for a tournament as a co-angler. Hopefully you've learned something, and hopefully you're not afraid to be a co-angler. You're not, I don't want to say afraid, but you're not nervous about being a co-angler, fishing with somebody you don't know. Just do what you usually do. Even though you're in the back of the boat, it's not a big deal. Maybe you're presenting your bait at a different angle than that guy is, and that fish wants your bait opposed to his.